by Thursday at 6. Karen wanted my free fridge gone, or she'd find me into dust. I didn't set up the fridge to make a scene. I set it up because the heat wouldn't quit, and Miss Dolores on Birch fainted in the pharmacy line. We live in Cypress Landing, the kind of subdivision where the mailboxes match, and the HOA newsletter has more adjectives than news. June hit like an oven door. There's folks on fixed income. There's kids home for summer. And there's a little strip of shade by my driveway where a fridge could sit like a quiet lifeline. I found a used commercial unit on a community board. Paid $400 cash. Scrubbed it with vinegar till it smelled like nothing. And painted the door sky blue with "Take what you need" in white block letters. I bought a plug lock, a simple timer, and a temperature logger a friend from the coffee shop lent me. We stocked it with water, oranges, yogurt, and little boxed milks. A city micro grant, Southgate Community Care. Award FR 20489 reimbursed me. The guidelines said, plain as day, on private property, with permission. Accessible from sidewalk. I read our covenants. 2. Section 5.6 says, decorative yard accessories permitted if maintained and harmonious. Kind of vague. I emailed the Architectural Review Committee on May 12 at 9:13 p.m. Subject, mutual aid fridge, temporary by carport. Terrell from ARC wrote back on May 14th at 8:07 a.m. Looks good. Keep it tidy. I printed that email and slid it into a cheap plastic sleeve like it was a diploma. We plugged in the fridge on a Sunday morning. A middle schooler hung a corkboard that said, leave a note if you took the last water. A grandma taped up a recipe for cucumber water. My neighbor, Mr. Hernandez, who works nights, dropped a case of Gatorade and said, don't tag me. I ain't trying to be a hero. Then came the knock. Karen. You know the posture, chin a little high. Binder with tabs. A smile that doesn't reach anyone's pupils. Nia, she said, like we were old friends. I'm Karen Ellison, HOA president. She glanced at the fridge like it was a raccoon that learned taxes. You did not submit an application. I did, I said, holding up the printed email thread. May 14th. Approved. Terrell said, Terrell is no longer chair. She said. In April. The board updated standards. Section 7.9.4. No outdoor appliances visible from street. It's about curb appeal and pests. You have until Thursday at 6 to remove it. Or fines begin at $500 per day. My micro grant requires the fridge run through August. I said, we got families counting on it. Also, it's hot. Karen tapped her watch that probably has a name. Rules are rules. She passed me a courtesy notice on pink paper. The portal already showed my address in red. Due by Thursday at 6. I could almost hear the clock ticking. Receipts drop 1. I taped the grant award, FR 20489, to the side of the fridge. Next to Terrell's, looks good. I slid a clear sleeve with the Southgate Guideline Section 14-12. Charitable food sharing, on private property under the magnet shaped like a peach. If you were gonna argue with me, you'd have to read first. By Monday, someone had posted in Keep Cypress Classy on Facebook, feeding stations attract vermin. It was vague enough to pretend it wasn't about me, and specific enough to be frank. There's people who love property values like it's a pet they train to growl at compassion. I kept the door wiped, the ground swept, the trash sealed. A pest control guy named Dave stopped by and did a quick look. "No evidence of rodents," he said, writing it on a carbon copy form dated June 10th. "You're cleaner than half the restaurant dumpsters near the highway." He winked. "Don't quote me." Tuesday morning at 2:03 a.m. My ring pinged. 2 figures in polos, ball caps that said compliance, walked into my driveway. One jimmied the lock off the plug with a bolt cutter. The other unplugged the cord. A low hum died, and my stomach dropped with it. "Get the plate," one whispered. They photographed my car in the fridge, like they were poachers hanging a deer. Receipts dropped too. I downloaded the clip, saved it to a thumb drive, labeled Ring 2:03 a.m. June 11th. I printed stills with timestamps. I circled the hats in red Sharpie because petty helps me focus. By morning, the yogurt had warmed. The logger printed a little tape that said above 41 degrees for 19 hours. Anything that sat too long, I trashed. I kept the receipt from the landfill, $15, under a magnet, like a scar you don't hide. A yellow public health stop order was taped to the door. It had a slightly crooked city seal and a signature that looked like a child practicing cursive. Southgate doesn't use yellow for anything but hydrants. And even then, it's a deeper shade. I called the city. A clerk named Lily Cho said, "We don't issue stop orders for private fridges. Also, our seal has 5 stars, not 4. Please keep that document." Receipts drop 3. I wrote down Lily's name, date, time, and put her email. Health does not regulate mutual aid fridges on private property in the sleeve with the grant. I taped the fake notice next to it with a post-it counterfeit, per Lily C. At noon, Karen came back with 2 compliance officers in khaki pants. "Final inspection," she said. "It's a fridge, not a deck," I said. "Also, someone cut my lock and unplugged it. That's food safety sabotage." My voice shook, which made me madder. "Please lower your tone," she said in a tone you'd use for a toddler chewing on a marble. "We've received complaints from neighbors." She didn't name any. "If you refuse to comply by Thursday at 6, we will initiate lien and foreclosure under Section 11. "Over a fridge," I said. "The HOA has broad powers." She said, "It's in the covenants you signed." I didn't. I said, "House predates the HOA by 22 years. My deed says not automatically subject unless adopted by owner." I held up a photocopy. My aunt, God rest her, had written in blue ink, "Don't let them bully you." She didn't look. "We'll see you Saturday at the emergency meeting. 3 p.m. Clubhouse." She smiled at the khakis. "Photograph everything." Wednesday. The portal showed I owed $1,000 already, which is wild math, since fines don't start till Thursday at 6. A banner popped up. "Non-compliance affects neighborhood harmony." If harmony means saying yes while someone steals your plug, sure. I filed a formal reasonable use variance with the board. I attached the microgrant, Lily's email, the pest control note, and 6 letters from neighbors who actually use the fridge. I CC'd compliance at Cypress HOA, info at, and a new one that popped up last month, safety at. Auto reply processing. Time 30 to 45 days. My grant auditor was scheduled for Monday at 8 a.m. If the fridge was offline 72 hours, they'd claw back funds. The clock wasn't ticking, it was sprinting. Receipts drop 4. I printed the auto reply. The grant auditor confirmation. Inspection window Monday, 8 to 10 a.m. and slid them behind the magnet. Next to a sticky note that said, "Breathe. You're doing fine." That night, Mr. Hernandez wheeled over a cooler. "If they cut the power, I got ice," he said. Also, my cousin prints stickers. "You want a sign that says Karen, deterred by facts?" He grinned. I laughed so hard, I choked a little. Thursday morning. A white SUV with Sterling Protective Services on the door rolled slow past my driveway. The driver, a guy with wraparound sunglasses and the vibe of a mall cop who's watched too many action movies, parked half in front of my hydrant, hopped out with a dolly, and tried to tug the fridge like it was theirs. "Order from the board," he said. "Show me a court order," I said. "Or a city document, not a sticker on your car." He waved a crisp piece of paper. Warrant. It said, "Neighborhood Safety Unit," on top. No judge's seal. A cartoon eagle with too many feathers. Cool graphic. I said, "Call the actual police, please." Officer Chen from Southgate PD arrived. Calm, like a summer rain. He looked at the paper, blinked once, and said, "This is not a warrant. This is a flyer." He asked the Sterling guy to step away from the appliance and to cease touching private property. The guy muttered something about just doing my job and rolled his dolly back like a sulky toddler. Receipts drop 5. I requested the body cam under record number BC1-1982. I saved my call log. I took a selfie with Officer Chen because humor is glue when you're fraying at the edges. He tried not to smile, and failed. At 5:50 p.m. Karen texted, "Remove the fridge by 6, or fines commence." It was 5 minutes of grace, delivered like mercy. I plugged the fridge back in, and stood there with my hand on the door like I could guard it with sheer presence. A kid rode by on a bike and yelled, "Thanks for the popsicles," I yelled back. "You're welcome." He almost ran into the curb from the excitement. 6:01 p.m. The portal dinged. Fine, assessed $500. 6:30. Additional fee, $100. Administrative. 7. Ongoing violation. It felt like a slot machine that only pays in nausea. I cooked rice and couldn't taste it. My sister called and said, "You good?" I said. "I'm fine." I was not fine. At 2 a.m. the ring pinged again. This time, the Sterling SUV parked across my driveway. 2 figures tried the lock and found I'd added a steel hasp. One crouched and tried to yank the cord from the outlet. I'd put a metal box over it. They whispered. Plate got it. Like my life was a scavenger hunt. Receipts drop 6. I emailed the clips to myself, my cousin who's a paralegal, and the city attorney's general inbox. Because redundancy ain't pretty, but it works. Subject line: impersonation and trespass, Cypress Landing. I attached stills with red arrows pointing at faces. I slept like a rock that night. Which is to say, not at all. Saturday. The clubhouse smelled like lemon cleaner and righteous nerves. The agenda on the door said Emergency HOA Meeting Appliance Enforcement. People filled the folding chairs. Ms. Dolores sat in the front with a damp cloth on her neck. Mr. Hernandez leaned against the wall like a friendly bouncer. A guy I only knew as Grill Dad had a baseball cap that said "World's Okayest Neighbor." Karen started with, "We're here as neighbors." Which, is something people say right before they stop acting like one. She clicked a slide with stock photos of raccoons. We must protect our community from pests, blight, and, frankly, liability. She glanced at me. The raccoon on the slide looked kinder than her eyes. Before you vote, I said, standing, I have information. You are not recognized, she said. From the back, a voice. Let her speak. Terrell. He had his ARC badge clipped to his pocket, even though Karen claimed he was removed. A murmur rose. Karen's gavel hit the table. It made a sad clack. I wheeled out a little cart with my projector and a box labeled RECIPTS. I'll be quick, I said. We got elders in this room who shouldn't be sitting long. Receipts drop 7 slide. 1 grant award FR20489. Requires operation through August, I said, zooming in on the clause. Slide 2, Southgate Ordinance 14-12. Highlighted charitable food sharing on private property, allowed with owner consent. Slide 3, email from Terrell. Looks good, keep it tidy. Date and time. Slide 4, ring still. 2:03 a.m. Sterling hat visible. Sabotage, I said. Unplugged at night. Food warmed. That's endangering, not protecting. Slide 5, pest control note. No evidence of rodents, June 10th. Slide 6, city clerk email. Health does not regulate mutual aid fridges. Yellow, notice not ours. Signed, Lily Cho. Slide 7. Body cam request number, BC-11982. And the warrant with the cartoon eagle. The room did a collective double take. Karen tried to smile. It sat weird on her face. Like a sticker on stucco. We appreciate the show, she said. But the bigger picture is property values. We have data. She clicked to a line graph with no labels and a red arrow plummeting. Since the fridge appeared. Nearby listings have longer days on market. Mr. Hernandez snorted. Or since interest rates went up. Amiga. A man in a suit I hadn't seen before stood. Daniel Coates. Association Council. He said, like we were lucky. The covenants prohibit outdoor appliances. The board may seek injunctive relief. Also, our security contractor observed loitering late at night. He held up an invoice from Sterling Protective Services Night Patrol Plate, Capture Carter Residence. Amount $1,300. Your contractor tried to steal a fridge, I said, and took photos at 2 a.m. From the second row, a hand rose. Deputy City Attorney Maya Kim. The woman said, I'm here because Ms. Thompson filed a complaint. And because, frankly, we've had other neighborhoods try the fake warrant trick. She nodded at Officer Chen in the back, who gave a small wave. 2 points. 1. The city ordinance allows this fridge. 2. Impersonating public officials stop orders. Warrants. Seals is illegal. The city is investigating Sterling's conduct and any board member involvement. She looked at Karen, not blinking. Karen's smile slid off her face. This is a private association, she said. We will handle internally. Private entities are still bound by law. Ms. Kim said. Also, the minutes posted on your portal for April show a vote that did not occur. Public records request from our office shows no clubhouse reservation that night and no quorum. That's falsification. The room tilted. The chatter rose like a kettle. Karen shuffled her binder. We have complaints, she said. Pulling a sheet. Noise after midnight. Trash overflow. Odor. She held up photos of a tipped trash bag. The photo was from my pickup day. Bags neatly tied, but one leaning because gravity exists. Receipts drop 8. I clicked to a slide of my trash service statement. Extra pickup scheduled Fridays. Then the pest control letter again. Then a letter from Dr. Omar Reyes. County Health. Dated June 15th. Mutual aid fridges on private property are not regulated as food establishments. Guidance attached. No action required at this time. A voice from the back. I took that bag out. A teen in a faded camp shirt said, raising his hand, I didn't tie it right. Sorry. The room softened. Just a hair. Mr. Hernandez stepped forward. My kid grabbed waters after mowing for Mrs. Patel. He said, he fainted last summer. You gonna find me for raising a good kid. He looked tired. Like a man who's done math at 2 a.m. With a shut-off notice on the table, Karen banged the gavel again. The head flew off and rolled under a chair. A laugh snuck out somewhere and then hid. Motion to ban outdoor appliances. Assess fines. And authorize liens. She said. Voice tight. Terrell stood. Motion to table. He said. And to discuss a reasonable accommodation policy consistent with city law. Second. Ms. Patel said, without waiting. All in favor of tabling, Ms. Kim asked. Because competence has a tone. Hands shot up like dandelions. Karen counted slow. Lips moving. Like the numbers might change if she scowled hard enough. It could have ended there. But power rarely goes quietly when it's built on being the loudest voice in a small room. Karen lifted another sheet. Conflict of interest. Accusation. She said. Eyes flicking to me. Our security vendor is necessary due to increased loitering at Miss Thompson's address. We have plate captures at 2:16 a.m. 3:05 a.m. 4:12 a.m. Receipts drop 9. I put up the Sterling invoice again, and then a check image from the HOA account made out to Sterling Protective Services, LLC. Signed by K. Ellison. Memo line Special Patrol, Carter Residence. I obtained it through a neighbor on the finance committee who was tired of secrets. Also, I said, Sterling is registered to a man named Bradley Ellison. Any relation? Karen blinked. My husband occasionally consults. She said, separate matters. Ms. and K. Kim scribbled a note. Undisclosed related party contracts are a problem. She said mildly, which somehow felt like a thunderclap. From the side aisle, Granny Dolores stood, slow and steady. I took 2 waters on Tuesday. She said. I put $1 in the jar. I ain't a loiterer. I'm a person. Y'all forgot that. Silence landed. You could hear the air conditioner wheeze. The vote came like a tide you can't stop by yelling at it. Miss Patel, steady as a metronome, said. Motion to remove President Karen Ellison for cause and appoint an interim board pending a special election. Motion to adopt a community goodwill policy allowing charitable fixtures with clear guidelines. Motion to refer Sterling matters to the city and, if necessary, the county. Second. Terrell said. Voice clear. All in favor. Hands. So many hands. Even Grill Dad's hand went up with a little flourish, like he was swatting a fly of nonsense. All opposed. A cluster. One guy kept his hand half raised. Eyes on Karen. then let it fall when she didn't see him. Motion passes. Ms. Patel said. She looked tired and strong. Like people do when they weren't looking for power, but power looked for them. Karen gathered her binder. For a blink. The armor cracked pride. Fear. Something human. Then she walked out. Heels ticking like a timer that ran out. Receipts drop 10, miss. Kim handed me a card. The city will issue a citation for the counterfeit notice, she said. Body cam corroborates. We'll also open an inquiry into Sterling's impersonation. She smiled. Small. Keep the fridge running. Legally. Aftermath isn't glam. It's emails. Policies. And patience. But it had teeth. The interim board hired real counsel who didn't smirk for sport. They adopted the community goodwill policy. Submit a one-page notice. Commit to upkeep. Provide a contact number. And the board approves, unless there's an actual safety issue. They refunded my bogus fines and wrote a check for $5,000 to the Southgate Food Collective as part of a settlement. Sterling got a fine from the city for impersonation and a warning letter from the county. I heard Bradley did community service, picking up litter on the highway in a neon vest. Irony showed up. A little late but wearing good shoes. We painted the fridge with murals, sunflowers, a river, the word welcome in 4 languages. A carpenter neighbor built a little pergola so it looked intentional to people who need pretty to accept helpful. The fridge got a regular cleaning schedule. The corkboard filled with notes. Thank you. My kid loved the yogurt. If you need rides to the clinic, text me. The grant auditor came Monday at 8:05 a.m. Clipped. Polite. Skeptical by training. She checked the temperature log, steady between 36 and 39. She took photos. She asked. Any issues? I gestured to the little museum of receipts and said, we got through it. She nodded like she'd heard worse and better in the same week. Funds remain in good standing, she said. I cried in my kitchen next to a stack of clean dish towels because joy needs a weird place to land. A month later, Karen knocked with a paper plate and lemon bars. No binder. No gavel. Just a person at a door. Which is how most things start. I came to apologize. She said. I was afraid. Of raccoons. Of lawsuits. Of being the president who let the neighborhood look messy. I forgot the people. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do with my hands. So I wiped a clean counter that was already clean. Thank you, I said. Do you want to see the fridge, for real? Not as a symbol. She followed me out. A kid in a Spider-Man shirt handed her a paper cup of cucumber water like he was a maitre d'. It's good, he said. Karen sipped. It is, she said. Surprised. We stood there in the shade. A breeze moved the prayer flags someone had tied to the pergola. Ms. Dolores waved from the sidewalk. Mr. Hernandez honked on his way to work. The world did not end because a fridge hummed by a driveway. No rats threw a party. No buyers fled, screaming. The only thing that happened was 100 small mercies. Stacked like ice trays. Could I donate Gatorade? Karen asked. Brad has a coupon for a case. Coupons welcome, I said. We take full price. 2. We laughed. And it felt like breathing after holding it way too long. Sometimes I sit on the porch and watch people come and go. A teenager grateful he didn't pass out mowing in July. A grandma grabbing 2 waters for church bus riders. A delivery driver slipping a couple of bananas in. Like a quiet tithe. The hum of the compressor sounds like stubborn hope. There's a little tag on the back of the fridge that says Model CF9 720 ADA reach handle. I didn't notice it till the day after the vote. I ran my fingers over the letters and thought about every time in my life I made myself small to fit someone else's rule. Not this time. Not when the air felt like soup and the city wrote a grant so we could be good to each other. If you're reading this to the end, thanks. If you're the type who thinks rules keep us from chaos, I get it. Same. But rules that forget people ain't keeping order. They're just making neat lines around suffering. So we drew a different line and kept it. So, what would you do here? Go quiet. Go loud. Or, like us, go with receipts until the room flips.